Right, so for today's video, we actually have an update on the situation we spoke about a couple of days ago revolving around the restaurant drama. It was a situation where a food reviewer went to do a collaboration with a restaurant and then was told by the owner that they basically weren't worthy to review the restaurant because they didn't have enough followers. Now, we actually left that video without a response from the restaurant or the owner. In fact, we only got a response from the owner's daughter in a TikTok comment. Now, it's important to note here that the owner's daughter wasn't even involved in this situation. It just so happens her dad was involved. So we kind of left the video just guessing whether they were going to respond or not, and maybe they were just going to ignore it. Well, it turns out they have responded. And I guess they had to at this point, right? Because since my last video, this situation has just got so much more bigger in terms of the amount of people that are actually interested in it. For example, in my last video, Carla had 80,000 followers. She currently now has 310,000 followers, basically. Also, the original video that Carla uploaded kind of talking about this situation, I believe was on like 4 or 5 million views when I made my last video. It's currently on 18 million views. And in fact, the update video that Carla made is on 4.5 million views, and in this video she explains how the restaurant haven't responded yet. So I think it definitely got to a point where they had to respond, and that's exactly what they did. So in case you aren't aware of my original video, although I would recommend watching that first so you get the full context here, I am going to give a very fast recap to maybe remind you of what's happened here. So Carla is one of the people who are involved who's a food review like TikToker. Also, the restaurant or wine bar or cafe, whatever you want to call it, is called Kiss Cafe. The owner who was heavily involved in this situation is Luke Sung, who is also the chef. We can actually see Luke throughout his daughter's TikTok account. This is him on the right. And his daughter, who again, it's important to note here, wasn't actually directly involved in the situation, but has since made a new video kind of addressing everything that we will take a look at. Her name is Issa or Isa Sung. Now, fast recap on Carla's video, it starts off with explaining that she organised a collaboration with this restaurant. This is like a very important part of this whole situation to me, right? It's not like she just showed up and was thinking, oh, I'm just going to film. They know nothing about this. She actually shows these messages here where they did organise it. She spoke to the restaurant first. They were happy with her to come and film and do a review. But once Carla arrived, the owner and I believe the co-owner were having a conversation loud enough and close enough for Carla to overhear what was being said. And the owner was asking how many followers Carla has, and he wasn't happy with the number.
And this guy pulls up my TikTok and says that I have 15,000 followers and I have some videos have millions of views, whatever, and this guy is not happy about it.
And in fact, the owner goes to speak to Carla, says like she didn't do research on the restaurant. Carla replies by saying like, I know your menu back to front, but you don't have a website, so I've done the research I can. The owner then apparently plays Carla's videos out loud, like her TikTok videos, and then responds by basically saying that these videos aren't to the level that they need to be to review his restaurant.
And he starts scrolling through and playing my TikToks on full volume at the restaurant. And not even my page, just the page that comes up when you search my name. After scrolling like 2 times, he says to me that he doesn't think my videos are at the level at which he wants his restaurant to be represented. He goes on to say that my audience and my followers are not the kind of people that are going to be at his restaurant. It seemed like he was insinuating that my followers would not be able to afford to eat at this restaurant.
And then the owner goes on to say the infamous line that if anyone says it, they come across as very unlikable, and it's, do you know who I am? And on top of that, tells Carla that his daughter has 600,000 followers.
Then he says, not to be snobby, but do you know who I am? And I say no, because I don't know who he is. He says he's a James Beard Award recipient or finalist or something, and I'm like, great, like I don't know what to say to that. And he said that his daughter has 600,000 followers on TikTok and that I'm not at that level.
So I think it's fair to say, based on everything we're hearing in this video, he definitely didn't come across well, did he? Now, of course, Carla got a bunch of support because of this, and the restaurant was getting a bunch of negative reviews. In my last video, we actually took a look at the reviews, and there was over 5,500 reviews on there at the time. And I actually mentioned, like, I believe the reviews are going to be taken down because we've seen that so many times with situations like this. Because there's such a big increase in the amount of reviews, Google kind of, like, limits them, I guess, and, like, comes to the conclusion that obviously the amount of people that did leave the reviews didn't actually go to the restaurant. And that has happened. If we actually look at the reviews now, they have 23 reviews, 4.5 stars. So yeah, that brings us to the new update. So we got 2 main updates here. So the first one being Issa Sung, obviously Luke Sung's daughter, has made a video kind of addressing her thoughts. And also we've actually got a statement from the restaurant. So we're going to start with Issa Sung's video. So she starts off by saying that she wants to address the situation and then says that she stands by her comment. And if you remember, she commented on Carla's video, basically on her side.
I'm not the most well-spoken, so I'm reading off what might come out a little messy, but I just wanted to say something and not fumble my words. In light of everything that's been happening, I just want to say that I still stand by what I said in my comment in Carla's video and that I support her.
Yeah, again, I do think it's very important to note here that Issa Sung wasn't involved in this situation directly, right? It just so happens her father was. And if you remember in the last video, we took a look at Issa's most recent video and looked at the comments, and she was getting a bunch of hate. And again, she wasn't actually directly involved in this. Now, in this most recent video, Issa makes it very clear that she doesn't think what happened is okay, and she mentions how she reached out to Carla straight away.
What happened to her was not okay, and within hours, as soon as I saw the video, I knew exactly who it was about. I called my dad, his business partner, and I reached out to her immediately after she shared it to have him apologize in person because nobody deserves to be treated that way, and I wanted her to know that she has my support.
Issa then goes on to address the fact that she was actually mentioned by her dad. You know, he said like, oh, my daughter has 600k, so you're not on that level.
I know I wasn't the one who said those things, but hearing him use me as his daughter to belittle another person, a creator or not, was a complete shock to me and was unacceptable. As a daughter of immigrant parents, I've spent my whole life navigating these dynamics, trying to educate him on regulating his emotions and words, which doesn't excuse anything, but this isn't the first time I felt hurt by his actions and how he has treated people.
Yeah, like I said in my last video, I feel bad for Issa, right? Because again, not directly involved, her name was just brought up by her dad, and then she ended up getting a bunch of backlash because of it. And I think a big reason for that is because from what I can tell, Luke Sung doesn't seem to have like social media, or at least I couldn't find it. So I guess people wanted to get their message across to Luke that what he did wasn't okay and they wanted to voice their opinions, but instead of doing it to Luke, they ended up doing it to his daughter, who wasn't involved. And I mean, from what she's saying in this video, she's making it very clear that she doesn't think what happened is okay.
When it's to me and to people in my household, we know how to handle it. But it's not acceptable to treat anybody the same way or in public. If any of you can relate to this feeling of having parents who cannot control their emotions, you might understand this feeling, but it's not an excuse. And though I love my family, this was, again, not okay. I don't condone how he spoke to her, and I don't share the values of speaking down to anyone, especially not another AAPI creator. And even if she weren't a creator or Asian American, it still would not have been okay.
Now, Issa then goes on to mention that she understands if Carla doesn't want to like speak to her or hear from Issa, but she does want to remind people that she isn't her father and she wasn't involved.
I know Carla's intentions were genuine, and if she doesn't want to hear from me, I fully understand that. I want to give her space. But please know that I am not the restaurant, I am not my father, and his actions don't represent me. And just like many of you who may not have always agreed with your parents, I definitely do not always agree with mine.
And then Issa ends the video by saying her father is taking this learning experience seriously.
This was definitely a necessary wake-up call for him and a learning experience that I know he is taking very seriously. The restaurant has issued a public statement and apology, and my father has also reached out directly, but again, the most important thing is that she should have been treated with respect. I'm not asking for empathy or for grace, but thank you for listening.
Now, in the comments of this video, Issa is getting a lot of support, which I think is nice to see, right? Because again, I don't feel like she deserved any of the comments that she was getting on a recent video. But looking at the comments on this one, we got comments like this saying, you didn't have to go out and parent your dad, but what you did is still very classy. Props to that, and thanks for helping out our girl Carla. A comment here saying, you handled this with such grace and took responsibility for actions that weren't even your own. It's not your fault at all, and I hope everyone sees that. And then there's a lot of comments on this video basically calling out people who commented on her most recent video, kind of like giving her shit for the situation. Like this one, it says, y'all are weird for putting the blame on the daughter. So that's Issa's response. Now let's actually get to Kiss Cafe's response, and it's on her Instagram account that has one post. When I did first see this statement, it did have two posts. There was like a promotional like picture first, and then there was a statement, but that's gone now. So reading through, it says, statement from the Kiss team. Our chef's behaviour was unacceptable and he is no longer a part of the team as a co-owner, a chef or in any other way. As of this post, he, Luke, has reached out to the creator with a personal apology. This behaviour does not reflect the remainder of our team. We want to create a space that's welcoming and respectful to everyone. In this instance, we failed to do so. We are closing soon and restructuring after these events. In the meantime, we hope to still be able to sustain the livelihoods of our team members and their families. Lastly, we understand the frustration and anger, but please do not use this as a lapse in our values as an opportunity to foment racism and hate speech towards us and our loved ones. Sincerely, the Kiss team. Yeah, obviously, it should go without saying, like, racism and hate speech involved in any situation, never mind this one, is never okay, right? And if people are doing that, it's disgusting. Also, as we just read, they try to make it very clear that obviously the other members of staff weren't involved in this situation, and it does seem that way, right? Like in Carla's video, she mainly talks about Luke, the owner, and also kind of talks about this co-owner, but the co-owner was the one who organised it with Carla originally, who was happy with her to come, but I guess judging from the story we've heard, he didn't exactly, like, stick up for Carla, right? He let the owner, Luke, say the stuff that he did. Now, you might be wondering what they mean by the fact that they're restructuring the business and he's no longer going to be the owner, right? Because, I mean, as an owner, he can't exactly just be fired. And there was also a lot of people in the comments kind of asking what they mean by this. Like this one here saying you can't just fire an owner, so is he a silent partner now? To which Kiss Cafe actually responded saying, no, he's leaving and we are restructuring the LLC to not include him. Good question. Yeah, I mean, judging with how big this situation got and people's opinions on the situation, it was going to be very hard for them to be as successful as I assumed they want to be after the situation went as viral as it did. With Luke still in charge, of course, right? So the fact that Luke is no longer going to be there, that doesn't really surprise me. I don't know if they're going to rebrand entirely and have like a different name or whatnot. You would assume that they might actually do that, right? Because the name Kiss Cafe has a lot of like negative publicity around it right now. But who knows what's going to happen? I would love to know your opinions in the comment section down below based on everything that we spoke about in today's video, with Issa's like response to everything, but then also Kiss Cafe's response and what they have said is going to happen in the future. I think this was probably a bit of a shorter video judging from how long I've been recording for, but I felt like it was important to kind of give an update on this since there were some big updates, right? We left the video without a response from the restaurant. We now have it. So yeah, if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like down below, subscribe if you are new. Also, if you're interested in some other content, me and Emily have a channel where we play games, react to reality shows, do vlogs, all that type of stuff. So if you're interested in any of that, that's always linked in the description. And yeah, until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, goodbye.